This is Vidette Vanderweide. I'm here with another Spotlight interview, and this is so exciting to me because I met our next guest about a year ago on social media. It just doesn't get any better than that. It actually does get better than that. But I wanted to introduce you to my friend Monique Alamedine, and she is the founder of, I have it here, snugbods.com.au. So if you haven't figured it out, she's coming to us all the way from Australia. Monique, thank you for being here and being my second Spotlight interview since we've relaunched our brand. Thank you.
G'day from down under.
Yeah, I love it. This is so exciting. Technology is so amazing. I feel so, so blessed to be in this age. So, Monique, tell us a little bit about you and what Snugbods is and what you're all about.
Okay, it's a bit of a story, so bear with me.
No,
here.
tell
There's
it.
an
That's
end
the
to
whole
it.
point.
So I started off as a recruitment consultant for about 10 years and got to a point where it became sort of bums on seats, all about the dollar. Yes, I was earning good money. Yes, it was sales driven. Yes, I loved what I did, but there was a bit of a disconnect with humanity and dollars. And I thought there's got to be more to life than just the dollar. I want to make a dollar. Everybody wants to make a dollar.
Sure.
But it's got to be soulmate. It's got to be soulful. It's got to be purpose to it. There's got to be some depth to it. So I embarked on coaching. I didn't even know it existed. I don't know how I stumbled upon it.
Yeah.
Went off and did a life coaching course, and then went on to be a master practitioner of NLP.
Yeah.
And in the first 6 months, I got a $20,000 corporate client. I was
shut the front door.
Time. I'm there. I've arrived. Yes. And then what happened was I'd been trying to fall pregnant for 3 years, and I suddenly fell pregnant.
Oh.
So I was so excited, but I threw a bit of a spanner in the works. And I unfortunately had one of those pregnancies where I lost my brain cells.
Oh. Baby
and
brain,
so
is
I
that what they call
wasn't
it?
giving value, and I wasn't going to be able to give any value. So I kind of just pulled back. I did nothing. Went to my pregnancy, had the baby. She's a beautiful 7-year-old girl, by the way. The love of my life.
I know,
besides
right?
my husband, of course. So then I've been looking for bodysuits since they went out of fashion, basically. I'm showing my age here in the 80s.
No.
What was it? Probably mid-90s, I think.
Yeah, I had them.
Yeah, I'm the best.
Yeah.
So after I had my daughter, I was looking everywhere for a singlet top that never rolled up because it was I remember this clearly, one long hot summer day, and I was wearing 3 tops. I was wearing one to cover my boobies because they were just humongous after having had a child.
Right.
One to cover my muffin top and plumber's crack, as we call them here in Australia.
What's that? I have no idea what that is. Kidding. I know exactly what it is.
Yep. So, and then I think I had another. I had shapewear on that day as well, and the top that I was actually wearing.
God.
And I thought there's got to be a better way. There's just got to be a better way. And I went, you know what? That's it. I spoke to my sister-in-law, I think it was at the time, and she's like, yes, I want one too. And so Snugbods was born.
Wow.
I thought it was going to be really easy, Vidette. I really thought it was going to be easy. I thought, okay, I had the idea in my mind. I'm just going to go. I think it was a pattern maker. I discovered I had to go to a pattern maker at the time. And I thought, yeah, beauty, it's done. Well, it took me over a year and a half to perfect. Just so complex, and I had no idea. I don't even know how to sew a button on.
To what?
So I still don't even know how to sew a button on.
Oh, wow. I love it, though.
Yeah. So I went off and did that, and I had a really good start, I have to say. I had great media coverage. I was on TV, radio, magazines, and then something happened. I lost my way, and I couldn't supply the demand because people were asking for all different styles because I only released one. And I realised that when I created my business, it wasn't really a true reflection of me. So I created what I thought people wanted to see.
Right.
What was perfect, this whole glamorous perfect image, and it's so not. So I actually stopped doing anything for a couple of years. And I only just restarted again this year.
Yeah, because when we met last year, that's when you were kind of like, I kind of want to start again, but I'm not sure. And So you were in that space. I love the story. It's just making so much more sense to me, and there's still so much to talk about with it. But keep going. So you started about a year ago, back into it.
So I went back into it, and what had kept stopping me, and what was my blocks over the years, was never feeling that it's ready. It's not perfect.
It's not perfect.
I need to get this right before I go. I need to do this before I go. Well, I've got like 20 or 30 styles to be released. And at the time that I was going to release them, I wanted to release all the styles, or at least 10 or 20 of them. And they weren't ready. And in the past, I would have just gone, no, I can't do it yet. They're not ready. They're not ready. And my motto of this year, because I have a theme of every year, is just do it. So I did it. I had 3 styles, and I went, you know what, that's it, I'm doing it, they're gone, they're out. And I was nervous, I was scared as hell.
Yeah.
But I did it. And then just that experience has just, enriched my life in so many ways. It's the capital.
Isn't it funny how, so many things that I want to bring back up that you mentioned, but I think that the biggest thing is once we get over the idea of perfection and just launching whatever it is we have, and you just said, it's kind of rearranged the way that you think about things, and I've done that too, and just recently I just relaunched my website, and it has one video not done. I thought, to hell with it, I'm just going to let it go. I don't know if anyone's going to notice. And it was really scary to me, and I think we have these ideas that people are watching, and if they don't know that you have 20 styles out, and you're not successful because you don't have your 20 styles out, then they'll never do business with us, or they'll never look at us again. But it's really just a story we make up in our own minds. Talk about that a little bit, about kind of that awakening of just being like stepping through, not being beautiful or beautiful, being perfect, and doing what you need to do when you need to do it.
Well, that was the starting point for me. So I was in no way, shape or form there yet when I started at that point. So I was shit scared, if I can use that word.
Of course. Yeah, man. I love 4-letter words.
And then what happened was, so I plodded along, started making sales when I wouldn't have been. So if I hadn't have started, I would still be at the point going, I'm going to start, not do anything. My real massive turning point for me was I went to what was supposed to be a marketing seminar. When was it? Probably about 3 months ago. And when I say it was supposed to be, because I thought I was just going to go in there, learn a bunch of marketing, tools and techniques, and I can apply it to Snugbods, and off I go. Well, I think I had an emotional breakdown there because it made us actually stop and think about who we are as people. What am I? Who am I? So I was in there, and if you ask anybody in that room, I was the one that constantly saying, but I just sell bodysuits. How does that apply to me? I just sell bodysuits. I walked in selling bodysuits. I kid you not, I walked out with my life mission all in place.
Because it's more than that. It's more than bodysuits.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I've had one of many seminars and workshops like that too, where I've had like the snot stained sleeve because I'm crying so hard and just releasing a bunch of stuff and having breakthroughs. But so talk about that. Talk about walking in, selling bodysuits, and walking out with your life purpose. Where do you remember a pivotal moment where that shift was made in your mind? Was there a pivotal question, an exercise?
I remember, look, it was the whole thing, and what they got us to focus on, and this is what I teach my people, which we'll get to that a bit later, but with the business blinksters, is getting clear on who you are. And now I've done the whole who am I and what do I like and all that kind of stuff, but really drilling down further, doing your perfect day thing. What do you stand for? What are you against?
Yeah.
Who are you? How can you be radically authentic? Without fear of judgment.
Right.
Because people are buying us. They're not buying my Snugbods. Much as I'd like to believe that, I've created the best invention since sliced bread, it's probably not the case. Yes, it offers a solution and it's fantastic, but emotionally what's it doing to these people? To these humans, how's it helping them?
Right.
So it's tapping into that. So I guess it's for me, to put it in my words, it's my heart space connecting with theirs. And I know that sounds a bit woo, but that's how I work. That's how I work.
Do you think you could have gotten to that place without coaches and people to help you through it, right? Yeah.
No, absolutely not. I would have been stuck, and herein lies the problem. When I first came out with Snugbods, there was no mentors who focused on products.
Right.
There was a lot of info product specialists, coaches who coach coaches, that kind of a thing. But there was nobody who focused on products. Mm-hmm. And that's what led me to where I am now. Right.
And the reason why I brought that up is because I think sometimes when you ask someone the question, like, who are you? What are you about? And you get, I'm a mom, I'm a wife, I'm the roles you play in life. But I think we get so distanced from who we are that it really takes someone to pull it out of us and ask the questions and keep asking and keep asking. So I wanted to go back to that. Go back to, I've been writing little notes as we go, so if I look away, that's what I'm doing. Where you started Snugbods, and then you got to the point where you just didn't feel right, and you stopped for a few years. Yeah. What do you think about that decision? Do you think it was a good decision, bad decision? Not that I think that there's any bad decisions, but what are your feelings on that time now?
I did what I did with the limited knowledge that I had. Mm-hmm. So had there have been somebody who could have helped me, mentored me through it, would have been great.
Right.
But I think I grew too fast, too quickly, and I didn't know how to deal with it.
Right.
And I didn't know how to reach out. I didn't know who to reach out to.
Yeah. And the reason why I ask is I just this past year I had, I guess it was in February around there of this year, I had gotten to a point in my business where I thought, something's off. And but I just kept going, and it was a friend of mine who I was telling her the story a couple weeks later, and she just said, Vidette, just stop everything you're doing and stop, and the clarity will come. And I loved, for me, that was transformational advice, is when something doesn't feel right, just stop altogether. And I stopped for until probably, I don't know, maybe August, and really searched my soul to figure out what is it, what do I want this business to look like, what do I want my life to look like. So I was curious about how you look back on that time, because I think it can be some of the best advice someone gets is just stop the madness of trying to figure out it as you go. But I think our heads get so entwined with the daily activities that we forget who we are, forget why we started this business. And we just go through the motions again. We're repeating old mistakes again. So stopping, I think that was really a pivotal point that I want to point out, that you made the decision for whatever reason to stop. But yet here you are in a whole different enlightened place of Snugbods and yourself and all your businesses. So talk about your other business and what it is you do with women.
So just going back to how I explained that when I was coming out, I guess there was nobody who specialised in product-based businesses. Now there are a few at the moment, and everybody has their own flavour, which is what I love. Everybody connects with what resonates for them, which is fantastic. Me personally, I operate from a heart space, and I guess what I like to teach women is how to align their brand with their personality, not the other way around. Mm-hmm. Speaking from my past experience, I had this facade going on of perfection.
Yeah.
And I'm so not perfect, ladies. I am so not perfect. I may like to look glam and fabulous all the time because that's who I am.
Right.
But there's so much of the unglamorous stuff going on behind the scenes as well. Mm-hmm. And that's okay.
Yeah.
And I'm to share that and be more open about it. So that's what I want to do, teach women who have products who are hiding behind them as though that is them, which is what I'm doing in that marketing course. I just sell bodysuits. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, good point.
That's not the case. That's not the case. And so it's about creating a business and a brand around what you like, who you are,
right?
Not the features, benefits of the product. And so you have to stand behind that.
Right. And I think a lot of times, and maybe you'll agree, when you stand behind it, well, I think you kind of illustrated this with being at the marketing seminar saying, oh, I just do this. And we belittle ourselves with who we are. So you're encouraging women to step forward and be themselves first. And, oh, by the way, I have this great product and I have this great service. But it's me that you're buying. Not...
People want to buy from you. The need says, my mentor always tells me, know you, like you, trust you.
Right.
So if you're not putting yourself out there, what does it say about your product? And this can apply to info products as well.
Yeah, anything,
What does
services.
it say about your product if you aren't the face of your product, and if you can't stand in front and behind of it to say, yeah, this is me?
How have you grown from the days of being in recruiting? Is that the way the being a recruiter? My husband was a recruiter for years. From that, so you're making the money, you're doing what you need to do to make the money, to now doing what you need to do to fill your soul with what yes, you're going to make money along the way, but how much of a difference is that in your life?
Massive. I mean, the mindset, the lifestyle, there are stages where, and even probably now, where maybe I'm not living the high life that I was living before.
Yeah.
But you know what? It's so enriched in so many different ways.
Mm-hmm.
And I think back then, I don't think I realised it, but maybe sales was a slightly dirty word.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I even realised it then. But that's another thing my mentors have taught me as well. Sales is actually love and respecting yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And it's respecting yourself enough to charge what you think you're worth. And it's the love that you give to your clients.
Right.
That, you know what I mean? There's got to be an even exchange of energy there. And that's what money is.
Yeah.
It's energy exchange. And I'm in theory. But
Right.
I don't think I've ever really felt it.
No, I know exactly what you're talking about. Something you just said I think is brilliant is sales has always been looked at as a dirty word. And I think in my own mind that has shifted in myself, because back in the day in corporate world I've sold all kinds of stuff, and where I know that I didn't like sales and I wasn't very good at it, to be honest with you, because I was selling something that I didn't love. I didn't care about a golf shirt with an embroidered, logo on it. And I think on the other side of that, consumers are afraid of salespeople because they're just going to give them, a bunch of jargon. But when I have stepped into what I do, for me, I can go and sell my services. I can sell it with so much ease because it's coming from the heart. It's that heart-centered me bringing together, bringing my unique gifts and talents to the world. It's not, because I have clients who say, well, I'm not salesy. I'm like, great, don't be, just be you. Go out and talk about what it is we're putting together, and it's no longer sales. It's no longer dirty. It doesn't feel like that anymore. So that was a really great point. You mentioned life's, what'd you say?
People feel your passion.
Passion, yeah. Oh, totally, I love it. You talked about lifestyle. Talk a little bit more about that. Expand on that, what you mean about enhancing your lifestyle with living your passion.
I guess there's a lot more depth to me now, and there was always depth there, but I never shared it.
Yeah.
I'm a Virgo, so I don't know if you know much about Virgos, but we're very much the perfectionists, and everything has to be perfect, and nothing is out of place. Well, I've reached a point, I guess, where, you know what, I may have good days, I may have bad days, this is who I am. Mm-hmm. And so when I say it's enriched it, it's allowed me, I guess, the space to peel away the veil, I guess, and to share who I am, really, rather than what I think people want to see.
Yeah, why do we do that?
It's progress. It's still a work in progress.
Of course.
Never stop letting it help me.
Yeah.
But it's become a hell of a lot easier with just acceptance, and understanding that this is you. And once you accept yourself totally and completely, and there's a difference, massive distinction between tolerance and acceptance. If you tolerate something, you're just tolerating it, and then there's the real, internal, deep acceptance. And that's when you feel for yourself.
Yeah.
And the compassion you have for others, apply it to yourself.
You mentioned being a work in progress. I was having a discussion today with a friend, colleague of mine, and we were talking about, she said something, it was beautiful how she said it, but something to the effect of, I reinvent myself every day to become more of me. And, I know, wasn't it? I was like, you need to, tweet that, or that's a tweetable. But, and you said, you were wearing a veil, and as we kind of reinvent ourselves and take another layer of that veil off, we become more of ourselves and become more comfortable in our skin and feel that passion coming alive. And it truly does spread to every every area of our lifestyles. You know, my own reinvention made me a better mother. I'm still a work in progress in that. I always say I'm not winning Mother of the Year anytime soon, but I get better every.
I'm with you on that. 100% with the mother thing. Mm-hmm. It's made me a better mother as well.
Yeah. You know, just. And what excites me is as I take the time as a mother to reinvent myself and to pull those veils off, as you know, those layers off. I then am showing my two boys and your little girl how to be doing that for themselves, so that we're building, you know, a whole new generation of, you know, conscious kids who are, you know, being themselves or learning to be themselves.
Yeah.
So talk about that. Talk about, you know, doing this all with your daughter watching, and especially for little girls, man, to see their moms doing their passion. It's just, I think it's so freaking important in this world. So talk a little bit about doing that.
I love it because she actually sits down, and because I've always gotten her into the habit of writing, so I do let her go on the computer in games. But there has to be a balance between when you're bored, go and write a story or, you know, draw or something like that. I want to keep her creativity flowing. Yeah. So she sits down at times and writes sales copy for Snugbods.
That's brilliant. Oh, my gosh.
I love it. I'm so proud. It's a proud mummy moment, I have to tell you, when that happens. She's just amazing. So she's already in that headspace of sort of selling, and, you know, she writes, you know, if you're feeling this, go get a Snugbod. And if you're feeling that, go get a Snugbod. And if you've got muffin top, go get a Snugbod. Like, she'll write all this stuff in it. So that, and going back to the being a better mum, is that I have, when you're following your passion, you have a better headspace to follow all your passions, if that makes sense. Yes. So I'm not passionate. I don't know if you've heard of that saying. And I don't know if you've heard Barbara Sher's Refuse to Choose.
No.
That's me. That's me to a T. She calls them scanners. So we love to do a lot of different things. And we've always in the past been told, no, just focus on one thing. So I'm not going to digress here. Basically, it's made me more aware that by following my passion, I can apply the same love and passion to those that I love as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it just flows.
It just flows and it spreads. It just is that ripple effect that, you know, I feel like I need another word because I use ripple effect all the time, but there's nothing that sums it up. Exactly. So if there are women watching this who are saying, well, you know, I don't know what I want to do, but I know there's more for me, what would your advice be to them, or your suggestion?
I think the first thing that I would suggest would be to sit down and write their perfect day. Have you ever done that exercise before?
Yeah.
How awesome is it?
It's amazing. It puts you in that vibration of that day.
Yes, and you get clearer on what it is that you actually want. So I know some women who've thought that they want to be, you know, have a massive company and all, you know, staff and all this kind of stuff. They actually sit down and write their perfect day out, and they realise that it's actually that they really just want a small, you know, intimate team. They want to be able to work from home and still make dollars. Right. So kind of put it in their head that to make that money, it needs to be this big corporation, and it doesn't. Right.
Great point.
It's a really good starting point to get kind of clear if you have no idea at all. I think working with a mentor as well helps you sort of clarify it further. But I think that's a really good starting point.
Perfect. Well, Monique, tell us about Snugbods and what exactly they are. We've been talking about them, and we've gotten a clue of what it is. But just tell us about your product now. Yeah, I can see one clearly.
So this one over here is one of them, and what they are is I've got one on today actually. Can you see this?
Yeah. Oh.
See the basically the singlet tops. I've got them with jeans. I don't know if you can see that.
Yeah.
So they're basically cotton lycra. So they're worn as tops on their own. They're worn underneath your clothing as well. I have shapewear as well, so you know the midsection, just under your butt to below your tummy as well, so people can't even tell that you're being held in.
Right.
They really just keep you looking chic and sleek, to put it very simple.
Yeah.
no tucking in, no when you're bending over, these butt cracks
showing.
Oh,
the butt crack. I hate the butt crack.
It's the plumber's cracks just...
They're just so bad.
Your tummy's sort of hanging over.
Yeah.
It just keeps everything nice and clean. You can underdress it, and anything. I live in mine. And the beauty of them is there's so many different styles. So this one that I'm wearing today is the singlet.
Yeah.
You've what you call tank. You've got boot tube, you've got long sleeve, you've got V-neck, round neck, and next year I'll be coming out with custom made service, so you can actually go online and it's called a BYOB, build your own suit. So, and it's great. You can colour, the neckline, pick the sleeve, and there's just hundreds of variations on it.
So, as you're going through all these, in my mind, I'm like, and you said at the beginning of this interview, it was hard to get started. But I'm thinking, like, where do you even get started with that? Just walking through the fear of, I have this idea, and this is not just this isn't a service-based business. This is something where you have to get prototypes and find manufacturers, and that is so overwhelming to me. Just sitting here thinking, I'm like, how did she do all that? So just kind of wrapping up a little bit, but talk about moving through that fear of I have this idea to I have no clue how to go about doing it, but just walking through it. What was that like?
Scary.
Yeah.
Hence why I think I stopped, because I got too ahead of myself. I grew too quickly.
Yeah.
And I didn't know how to deal with it. Because like I said, from the minute I launched, I was in the paper, magazines, on TV. I don't think my mind had a chance to catch up to what was happening. I didn't have anybody to work through it with me. Mm-hmm. So yeah, it was scary. And like going back to just recently relaunching again this year, I was telling you I was so scared. I was like, oh, it's not ready, it's not good enough yet. And my mentors were like, just do it. That's it. Get out there. It's fine. Do it. So I really, and I know this is easy to say, but it's really just taking that first step.
Yeah.
And that old saying's of beauty, the journey of 1,000 miles begins with one
step. Yep.
Now, to give you an idea, I went from that scary space, right, which took me years to get to that point, to I also sell glass straws. Mm-hmm. So it's like these glass straws.
Glass straws. Oh, I never knew there was such a thing.
Oh, they're awesome. Look at this. This is hot tea. That's what my smallest sipper one.
Oh, yeah, I see.
Like the big ones that I use for my green juice and stuff like that, smoothies, they're wider. So the point of the story was that I went from years of getting Snugbods to this point to having the idea for glass straws, getting the website done, getting stock and everything, making sales within 3 weeks.
So, I love that. So once you step through the first time, after that, it's just easy, it'll work itself out, and you just move forward.
Yes.
The most brilliant advice.
Get it.
Mm-hmm. You just got to step through it once.
Yes.
Yeah, I heard someone say once that, stepping through the fear is the most painful part. We think the other side's going to be painful, but it's stepping through it is the most painful, and then we get there, like, oh, sheesh, that wasn't that bad. And then it just is easier until you hit the next fearful step of your business or life or whatever.
And there's a saying, forgive me if I don't get this right, you could probably help me through it, but it's something along the lines of courage isn't doing something in the fear of absence, it's doing it when you feel the fear. Mm-hmm. Like the meaning of courage.
Yeah.
I don't know if I've explained that right, but it makes so much sense in that you're not courageous it's not being just courageous if you're not feeling the fear. Mm-hmm. It's okay to feel the fear and be courageous enough to keep going. Keep going.
Mm-hmm. I love that. And I think that's a beautiful way to wrap this up. And Monique, it's been beautiful catching up with you, because like I said, we stay in touch on Facebook here and there, but it's I'm inspired with how far you've come in a year. So kudos to you for living your, from the soul, doing what you need to be doing. And viewers, go to snugbods.com.au. And of course, what you just said was pretty good of a way to end. But I'll give you one last thing, golden nugget that you want to share with everyone.
If there's one thing, it would be when you're selling, there's 2 places you can come from. You can come from love, or you can come from fear and ego. Mm-hmm. Which one are you going to choose? Which one's going to give you the best results?
Yeah.
So to me, if you're coming from a loving place we're going back to the passion, mm-hmm. It's going to be a lot easier for you to sell coming from that loving space of how can I make a difference in this world? How can I help you? Rather than, oh, they're not going to like me. Oh, they're not going to be interested. Oh, who am I going to help? So come from a loving space of how you can make a difference in the world.
Love it. Monique Alamedine, thank you so much for being here and for being one of the first spotlights that we've had since, or that I've had since relaunching. I admire you, and I want to thank you for sharing your story with our community here. So this has been Vidette Vanderweide and Monique Alamedine with Snugbods on our Spotlight interview series. Thanks for being here, and we'll see you on the next video. Take care.
Peace out.
Bye. Okay.